Black Hawk chopper unit was on annual proficiency training flight. Hegseth says authorities do not believe there are any survivors. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth addressed the American people following the deadly collision involving an American Airlines plane and an Army helicopter outside Reagan National Airport. Hegseth says the crash occurred while the Black Hawk was on an annual proficiency training flight. We do know on our side who was involved. It was a fairly experienced crew, and that was doing a required annual night evaluation, Hegseth said in a video statement obtained exclusively by Fox News. We anticipate that the investigation will quickly be able to determine whether the aircraft was in the quarter at the right altitude at the time of the incident. It's a tragedy, a horrible loss of life for those 64 souls on that civilian airliner. And of course, the 3 soldiers in that Black Hawk. They're in our prayers, their families and their communities as people are notified, Hegseth added. The instructor pilot in charge, who is flying the Black Hawk, had 1,000 flying hours, which is considered very experienced, Fox News has learned. Most on average 2 hours in length. The pilot had 500 flying hours, which is considered a normal amount of experience. Fox News is told the co-pilot was a woman. Both the instructor pilot in charge and the co-pilot were being evaluated during the flight and were familiar with the area and route, Fox News is told. Military and other government helicopters fly this route almost daily, according to a senior Army pilot and warrant officer. According to a senior U.S. defense official, 1 set of remains from the soldiers on the Black Hawk were recovered Thursday afternoon. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp identified one of the soldiers killed on the Black Hawk as Ryan O'Hara. We send our deepest condolences to the families and friends of Ryan O'Hara and Sam Lilly as they navigate this difficult time, he wrote on X. The young Georgians shared a passion for flight and for others, and this terrible tragedy is that much more difficult, knowing their lives were cut so unexpectedly short. Marty, the girls, and I ask that all Georgians join us in keeping their loved ones in our thoughts and prayers. O'Hara was identified as the crew chief of a doomed helicopter. Ryan is fondly remembered as a guy who would fix things around the ROTC gym as well as a vital member of the rifle team. Ryan leaves behind a wife and 1-year-old son, the Parkview High School, JROTC in Georgia, wrote on Facebook. Lilly was one of the crew members aboard the American Airlines regional jet. His father, Timothy Lilly, told FOX5 Atlanta. On Wednesday, around 9:00 p.m. local time, the FAA issued a ground stop on Reagan Washington National Airport after a military helicopter with 3 soldiers collided with a civilian airplane carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members. In a press conference on Thursday morning, DC Fire and EMS Chief John A. Donnelly announced nearly 30 bodies had been recovered from the scene of the collision so far. At this time, authorities do not believe there are any survivors, Donnelly added. We have recovered 27 people from the plane and 1 from the helicopter, he added. Despite all these efforts, we are now at a point where we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser thanked first responders for working in a very frigid river through the night in what started as a search and rescue mission, which is now a recovery mission. Transportation Secretary Pete Hegseth, who was sworn in hours before the collision, vowed to get answers on behalf of the collision victims' families and the American people. Duffy noted that the collision occurred on a clear night and that both the airplane and helicopter were in standard patterns. Safety is our expectation. Everyone who flies in American skies expects that we fly safely, that when you depart an airport, you get to your destination. That didn't happen last night, Duffy said. Duffy believes that the evidence so far indicates that the collision could have absolutely been prevented. In a blunt truth social post, President Donald Trump called the crash a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Shortly after the collision, Vice President J.D. Vance urged people to say a prayer for everyone involved.